Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, I got to tell you a story. The other day, my son is headed into graduating from Metro Christian and Metro Christian Academy. He's in the band, and they host their annual event at this beautiful venue, this incredible venue, this Colorado Escape right in the middle of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Picture a log cabin experience meets Tulsa, and it's called Five Oaks. And I talk to my kids all the time about Five Oaks because back when I built DJconnection.com, which I no longer own, I used to DJ often at this venue. And I used to harass this man, the founder of the company, and ask him, how did you build it? When did you start it? What was going through your mind at the time? And seeing him in the flesh, seeing him in person at this high school graduation event for my son, it really just excited me and brought me a renewed enthusiasm for how incredible Five Oaks Lodge is. And so now without any further ado, we have the co-founder of Five Oaks Lodge, Randy. Welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I am blown away by this. I've got a lot of energy, but I tell you what, I'm nothing compared to you. I tell you, but that's the whole reason that I'm here. I look at all this stuff. You and I are so different in so many ways. But the commonality that we have is this, like, well, you were bringing up the other, it's like this William Wallace Braveheart passion every day to get up, not only to get up, have the passion, but then put the effort in to what you want to achieve. And so I normally wouldn't even do anything like this. But when you asked me, I thought, man, I just like being around this guy. I mean, it's so infectious. His enthusiasm, and I don't meet a lot of people like that, and I'm kind of like that, but I'm a junior version of him. But anyway, I'm thrilled to be here. Your place, it's too bad your radio audience can't see this because it'll knock your socks off. But anyway.
Now, I have a stack of 10 questions I'd like to ask you over the span of about 45 minutes to kind of pace ourselves there.
Okay.
And I really want to get out of your way and let you share the story. So first off, I just remember I showed up at this beautiful venue. The year was like 1999-ish. Adam Spuler was hosting his graduation. He was an Oral Roberts University graduate. And he says, I'm having my graduation at Five Oaks Lodge. And I thought I'd been to every venue that Tulsa has, every venue that Oklahoma has, maybe every venue that Texas has. I thought I'd been to these venues as a DJ. And I pulled into this place, which still wasn't done yet. It was like the Death Star from the second Star Wars. It was under construction. And I thought, wow, there's a story behind this. So could you share with us, when did you and your beautiful wife decide to buy the land, and what was that process like?
Well, the purchase of the land, there's major events in our life, and really the first one was the land purchase. And we lived out at Lake Keystone, and when you live on a lake, and we lived right on the water, when you live on a lake, you share it with all humanity. And I'm okay with other people, but I like woods, I like privacy. I wanted my own lake. So after 2 or 3 years of living out there, I I got all the, I think they're called geological survey maps or something. I had all of them from like 50-mile radius of Tulsa. And I was like, I'm looking for a lake. I want my own lake. I want it to be big enough to water ski on. And I mean a whopper. And so anyway, they're few and far between. And of all things, it's weird how all these moons have lined up for me. But what happened is one of my wife's sister was dating a guy, and he was over for dinner one night. And I was talking to him about, I want to get a lake. He says, oh gosh, my partners and I have a lake. We're going to build the Golf Club of Oklahoma. And I said, holy smokes, really? Where is it? And he said, oh, it's on such and such. So I said, well, I got the maps. Let's look at it. He showed me, and it was like this giant, like 30-acre lake, just close in Tulsa County. I was like, holy smoke, I want to just see that. So he took us over there. They were marketing it because they wanted to build the Golf Club of Oklahoma. Well, that ended up falling through for a number of reasons. But anyway, I just wanted to have 1 acre and get inside the gate, because when I drove into this place, even as I say this to you now, I got goosebumps on my arms. Like, oh, good gosh, there's something like this in this city. I mean, talk about a hidden treasure. That's not even close to describing it. And, we ain't done anything with it yet. It was an old amusement park that its heyday was in the 60s. And this guy built an amusement park, made the dam for the lake. The dam's 80 foot tall. The lake is like 30 acres. And we literally did our kids water skied on when they were growing up. So anyway, here I am, and I saw this property. Okay, so I kind of have to forget about it because it's like, this is out of Randy's league. But anyway, a year or so passed, and I think it was probably around the late 80s when those savings and loans started going under, and there was all this unusual economic stuff.
Yeah.
One thing led to another, and one of the partners of this grand lake and this property was like a big player, and his company ended up going bankrupt because of it. The other guy somehow got out of it. One guy was left. He was paying on the note. Well, when these oil guys back then in the early, they go down to the bank and sign their name and get $2 or $3 million. Well, so he didn't have any equity in it, and he was watching the value of this property go down and down. And he thought, you know what? I'm just going to give this back to the bank. The guy that gave it back to the bank was the guy that was dating my wife's sister. So I knew about the property the moment that happened. Now, I dedicated my life to getting it.
Now, what were you doing at this point? Did you own your own business? Were you working for somebody? What were you doing before you purchased this property?
I didn't own my own business, but I managed a business like I owned it. It was a manufacturing company, and we made sofas and chairs, and it was in Tulsa. And I enjoyed the work because it was special stuff. It was high end. It was really interesting to do, but I knew it wasn't going to be my life's work. So I was always looking, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And I knew that wasn't it, but the idea of getting that property, the potential of that was so overwhelming, I couldn't even figure it out.
Now, where did you, because I remember when I was setting up my DJ gear, I was setting up my equipment for Adam Spuler's graduation, and it was still under construction. I mean, there were aspects of it that were being put together. And I just remember I marveled at the front door. I'm going, this front door is epic. And I'll put footage of this on the screen so our listeners can see it. I could see the pine trees going in. It was epic. The view was epic. I could see it. And I remember asking one of the members of the catering staff, like, who built this thing? And they go, the guy who owns it built it, or something like that. Could you tell us, I mean, where did you get the logs? Where did you get the materials? Because this is an incredible the way you put it together. I mean, it feels like the kind of cabin you would find tucked away in the mountains in Colorado that's 200 years old, but yet it was brand new. Where did you find the logs? Where did you find the materials? Walk us through how you built the actual cabin.
Okay, because this actually is a really good story. When we were out there where we were living, when we finally got the property, and that sometime that would be a fun story to tell, but it's about a 2 or 3 cocktail conversation. So, but anyway, when we finally got the property, we lived there for 2 or 3 years, or yes, maybe a little bit more than that. And it was like we lived because it was an amusement park, we lived in an old arcade. And quite honestly, to this day, live in the old arcade.
The old arcade.
Yeah, the old arcade of Skyline Amusement Park was what it was called. So anyway, we lived in the old arcade, and we thought, this property's too neat to not have a really cool log cabin on it. So we built a log cabin at the south end of the lake, and we really built it for our family to just enjoy and come out and for us to enjoy. And so we built it, and while we were enjoying it, people would hear about it, and our friends would tell people about it, and then would get some calls and go, gosh, I would love to come out there and do this or do that. I'd like to bring my wife out to maybe spend the night, or I'd like to have a little dinner. And we didn't want any part of that, because it was like we didn't know anything about that world. It was just like, well, no, this is our house. So this, we don't want to share it. But then we thought, you know what? You get so many requests, so well, let's try it. So one night, this couple came, and I think it was their anniversary. They had 2 or 3 other couples there. So we didn't know anything about that world. And so we thought, well, we probably ought to go down there. We go down there. They're having this really wonderful dinner. They're having drinks. Hey, why don't y'all sit down? We sat down. We had dinner with them. We had drinks with them. And they just raved about how great we were and how great this place was. And at the end of the night, they wrote us a check, and we thought, okay, there's something to this. So we ended up starting renting out that small little cabin. Well, the more we rented out that cabin, more people would find out about it. And there was a guy that was a big HR guy with a major company in Tulsa. I don't know if we can mention the names or not. It doesn't matter. But it was a big company in Tulsa. Man, Randy, I'd love to bring our stuff out. You just don't have a bigger place. Well, we thought, maybe we ought to think about something like that, because quite honestly, when you run a bed and breakfast, which is what it was, you're just sitting around drinking wine with people and just having a blast and making a bunch of money. You're basically, what you are is you're cleaning, you're washing things, you're making sure they get all the stuff. My wife's going down there at 6:30 in the morning. So anyway, you work all week, and back then you didn't make really anything, but it was fun. But my veterinarian, because we had animals, he said, hey, Randy, I've got a group that would like we're going to have a picnic, and we want to come out there. Could we have a picnic? And I said, well, I don't know. I guess so. He's nodded the cabin. He said, we just want to have it by the lake. Well, there was an old, where they used to have bathhouses and stuff, and some concrete there by the lake. And so we said, yeah, you can have it here. Well, I remember Claudia and I, my wife, were in our car and watched these people. He said, well, what do you want to charge? I said, I don't know. Let's say $4 a person. Well, that was in when was that? In mid 90s. And so we had like about 150 people. Well, there was like $600. And it was like, we watched them in a car and did nothing. And we didn't make that all week at the bed and breakfast. So we thought, okay, we got to build something. Now, the next step was east of Tulsa. There was a big log lodge being built to be a restaurant. And the guy that was building it, I might have had another restaurant or I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was the second one. That really doesn't matter. But it kind of sat there for a while. And the guy that was building it was the guy that built our cabin. And so I asked him, I said, Ron, what's going on with this? Oh, well, he's kind of having some financial trouble. And I said, well, and the building wasn't even all the way built. It was just built about 6 foot tall all the way around. But they sat there, and it sat there for over a year. And I said, if this guy ever flakes out on you, I'm interested in it. Okay, here's a really cool thing that happened. So anyway, I had a new truck, which was kind of a big deal for me at the time. It was a new Dodge truck. One of my employees wrecked it. And it was like, okay, I get the insurance money, and it was for $10,300. I had the check in my pocket. I'd had it in my pocket for no more than 2 days. I get a phone call. Randy, yeah. I say, hey, this Ron, with the guy in the big building. I said, oh, wow. Hey, how are you? And he said, well, this guy's not going to do it. are you still interested in the building? I said, you bet. I said, what do you want for it? He said, $10,000. I said, I got that in my hip pocket. And that's how it got started.
So you for $10,000, you bought
The start of a building.
what all did you get for the 10,000?
For the $10,000, we got the first 6 feet of the building. And then, because we didn't want to do it like the way they were going to do it. And so the rest of it, we kind of made a deal with him on how we would want to finish it out. And so, and quite honestly, I'm trying to remember, I can't even remember what the total was to finish it all, but it was a whole lot more than $10,000. But that's what got us started.
And the fireplace is gorgeous. The fixtures are gorgeous. Did you build the fireplace, or how did that fireplace and the fixtures come?
No, the fireplace, I wanted something, because I'm like a fire guy. I was making fires when I was like 5.
Right.
So I was like, if I'm going to have a fireplace, I'm going to have a whopper. And actually, kind of a fun story. The first event we had, of course, I want to use this fireplace, and I mean it was a high end event. I mean, ladies in long gowns and white gloves, and we had all these logs left over from the building. I had 5 and 6 foot logs of these big pine logs that were a foot in diameter. I loaded that thing. I mean, I had a fire in there that like frightened people. I mean, they were thinking about, they were like, should we stick around? I mean, it was. I didn't ever do it afterwards. But anyway, the fireplace was a fun thing to build because we wanted it to be substantial, and I'd seen photographs of some of the old stuff that were in the national parks and stuff. And that was kind of part of the inspiration of that.
Now, I'm going to put footage on the screen so our listeners can see drone footage, aerial footage of your venue, because there's not an adjective that I have that quite describes it. Well, I just remember I was at a wedding. This is probably, you've been open for a couple years now. And a little context, our company would often provide entertainment at your venue, 50 events a year, 100 events a year. I was there all the time. I feel like I live there almost. And the couple says, we're going to have a helicopter pick us up after we, say our vows, after we have the reception. A helicopter is going to pick us up and take us off. And I'm going, really? And they were able to land there. Yeah. And so, and I thought, and there's been multiple times when I would get there and the parking lot's full, and I'm thinking, there's no way that all these cars are going to fit. And you've enumerated all the parking spots, and there's a circular turnaround, and you've really thought through a lot of nuances that make it possible to, by my estimation, provide accommodations for 250 people inside, outside, no matter what the weather is. Can you talk about just some of the nuances and changes you made over the years? Because a helicopter can land there, and you can be dropped off in a torrential downpour and not get wet. You've really thought about a lot of details here. It's awesome.
Well, it was just based. I mean, really, when I walked around your place, it's the same thing. It was like a working process. You start out and you want to do this, and then you realize, gosh, we need more parking. Our parking lot was half the size of what it is now. And so, when you realize, what, we really do have a business here. We need to expand. So we expanded the parking lot, and then it was like, well, let's make it a little nicer. So we planted pine trees all along in the parking lot. Then we planted pine trees all along our border, and we did make a way people could drop off and turn around. And talking about, you've thought all this stuff out. That's a wonderful thing to say, but quite honestly, the reality of so much of this is they go, oh man, you've had this vision. Not really. I just want to do something cool. I love the building. I love the idea of logs.
Yeah.
And it was cool. And then just one thing led to another. I don't have the foresight to figure it all out ahead of time, like normal people that would do something like that lays it all out and plots it and all that stuff. We kind of like go by the seat of our pants, and when we see something, we shift gears and make it happen.
Now, it was 2 years ago. I was at a venue. I was at an event at Five Oaks Lodge, your place, for something. I had one of my kids with me, and I said, guys, listen, as much as we had to pay to be at this thing, okay, we got to crush the cappuccino bar. Okay, so we're going to get all hopped up on cappuccinos and espressos. And you were the first venue that I know of that offered complimentary espresso, cappuccino, coffee bar. And you have cups. You didn't go with the styrofoam cups. You have nice coffee cups that have the Five Oaks name on it there. Could you walk us through? Because I mean, full context. I was going to every wedding venue. I mean, the Renaissance Hotel, Embassy Suites, DoubleTree, Gaylord Texan in Texas. You name the venue, I was there often because we were doing 4,000 events a year. So I was everywhere. But you were the first guy to bring the cappuccino machine.
All right. Let me tell you how all that happened. And I'm glad you brought it up because I surely wouldn't want to forget this. When Claudia and I started that business, it was like, gosh, I hope this works. We've got some money on the table here. And so, I mean, we would take anybody. I mean, I like to tell people, you know, we were like hookers. It didn't matter what it was. We'd take you if you had the deal. Well, that was in the early days. I mean, we had parties where guys had just a white table and they'd put one of those orange worker bee water jugs on the table. But when our daughter came to our business, that's what changed everything. She has elevated that business to what it should have been all along from the start. And that, quite honestly, another little aspect of that, when I started that, I was like, okay, with this, you know, I want to do this. I hope this was one of the nicest and most wonderful things. I wish she was standing right here beside. So I've told her this. I never really knew my daughter, the one that runs Five Oaks. I never really knew her that well, even though I was her father. But when she started running our business, it has been the most pleasant thing for me to watch her grow and watch her be so much better than what we were. She's the one that did the cups. She's the one that had the nice this.
Oh.
He's the one that Claudia and I, we probably would have made it. We would have never made it. And when she has an event now, it's first class. It's well done. There's orchids. There's, you know, dog and pony shows. So anyway, it was my daughter, Nicole, and she's the one doing it now. And she's the one that's really made it what it is.
Now, again, Nicole, I lived through the Nicole experience because when Nicole showed up, she took it to the next level. I noticed that the bride preparation room went to the next level. The bathrooms went to the next level. The beverages went to the next level. The catering service went to the next level. The whole business went to the next level. But I have kind of a rapid fire questions for you, more just facts and figures real quick so people can kind of get a little context here. I believe that Five Oaks Lodge is approximately 185 acres. Am I wrong, or how large is the property?
It used to be. It was 185 acres originally. I ended up selling 22 acres of it in the back that we never went on or did anything with. And so now we're like 185 minus 22. So that's the full acreage.
Okay. And then the next question is, people look you up online all the time. We say Randy and Claudia. Is the last name pronounced Emel? Is that how we say it?
It's pronounced Emel. I-M-E-L.
Emel. Okay. And what was Claudia doing before you guys bought Five Oaks Lodge? What was she? Because I guess the furniture in there, the decor in there indicates that both of you were doing something related to decor, furniture, something. What was she doing before you guys opened Five Oaks?
I'm glad you brought her up because I would have not been in trouble, but it would have been so wrong to have this conversation without putting her maybe in the first paragraph because she is so creative. And the two of us together, quite honestly, are dangerous, you know, and actually my daughter too, when I get with her, because we all have ideas. We're not afraid to spout them off. And a lot of times they're dumb, but a lot of times they're home runs. But my wife is the more designer, creative type, that kind of detail where I'm wanting to build a log and make the corner of a building notch work well. You know, she's wanting to make sure the window treatment is really nice and the bar looks cool, you know, when it opens up. So, you know, one thing I do want to also, when you're talking about how it changed, in 2008, when all that stuff was going on with Fannie Mae and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was like, boy, a lot of these businesses were like having trouble. And we thought, you know what? Gosh, maybe our business was going to suffer with all this. We were letting caterers cater every event at our place. And that's okay because we really didn't want to do the food. We wanted to make sure the building looked right, get the floor swept, welcome everybody with their hair when they're there and then tell them how glad we were they came. But what happens in that kind of situation is they would come to the party, and I've overheard at least twice people say, "Oh, isn't this venue is like so good. It's so wonderful, but boy, the food they do is it's just kind of mediocre." And it was like, you know what? We're not doing the food. But they didn't know that, and we didn't want to have a sign at the front of the door that said, "By the way, the food you eat, it's not us." So we thought, we're leaving a lot of money on the table on this food. And in 2008, we thought maybe we better do this just if nothing else to keep us afloat. That was one of the best things, maybe the best decision we ever made in our business, because my wife is so good at that. She is such a great cook. And if you give me a raw piece of meat, a fire, and a metal stick I can poke it with, I can grill it. And so the two of us together can really do nice meals. And the meals that happen at Five Oaks, it's not like catered food. Catered food is you make it on Wednesday and you serve it on Friday. When Claudia and I do it, it's a big puzzle to finish it up right before 7 o'clock. Everything comes together and it's out like a restaurant. And it's fun. And the staff that we work with, that my daughter hires, are like fun people. So all that stuff, we get it ready right on time, and it's so enjoyable doing it.
Now, I have more questions to get into the logistics here. Can people stay there? Like, if somebody wants to, say someone's getting married, they have a wedding, can they stay overnight there? Or somebody's planning an anniversary, or someone just wants a weekend getaway? Do you have accommodations for people to stay there?
We do. We have one place that kind of fits that parameter, and it's called Curly's Cabin. It's called Curly's Cabin because I used to run Highland cattle out of there. The first calf that was born at Five Oaks, Scottish Highland calf, was named Curly. Now he's kind of an internet star, and they sell his pictures. We sold him. But anyway, Curly's Cabin is a cabin we built for that very thing, and people can spend the night there. Now, we also have other places on the property, but it's where people live year-round. Like the cabin that's in the back that started us all out. That is rented year-round, and we've got other things on the property, but you can do an overnight stay there, and it's called Curly's Cabin on Airbnb, I'm pretty sure.
So there's a cabin on the property where people live year-round, or who lives there? In generic terms, I mean, is that a house?
Yeah. It's like the cabin that's in the back where we started and did the first little work. There's a person that lives there full time.
Got it. Okay.
We have a what we call a carriage house that's built over our garage. Somebody lives there. There was an old ticket booth that was really cool because it had like about 20 windows in it. And we drove into our property. You'd see it. It's the first thing you saw on the left. Well, we ended up kind of fixing the ticket booth up. And so that's a place where people rent year round.
It feels like you're going to a town from the Wild West. And I'll tell you this, I'm
into the Wild West.
I'm just saying, I was already completely sold on everything about it. But when I sold DJ Connection, there was a window of time, we'll call it 7 years, 6 years, where I was traveling around a lot, speaking in Las Vegas often, San Antonio often. And when I came back, I noticed, wow, they're building a lot of stuff. And then when I came back this year, I noticed what appears to be a place where people can have their horses trained or something, maybe a board and train. Or what are you doing now with this large facility that you've now constructed?
Excuse me. Well, this building was the most fun thing I've done since I've been on that property. We had a place on the property that was a concrete, for lack of a better term, swimming pool that was circular. It wasn't a swimming pool. It was a boat ride for the amusement park. It was 130 feet in diameter and 2 feet deep, concrete. You could fill water in it, and they'd put like bumper boats in it. I looked at that space for 25 years thinking, what are we going to do with that thing? When the coronavirus came, we had all sorts of time to do stuff because the government came in and said, you know what, you can't do any business. You're out of business. And it's fortunate that, we were stable enough because that raked a lot of people. I mean, it put a lot of people under. But I spent the 3 years of the coronavirus building this custom hand-hewn timbered log building. And I thought, if I'm going to build a barn, I'm going to build a cool barn because it's what people are going to see when they first drive in. So I went all over the country, I didn't go. I called people all over the country because I wanted it to be a certain thing. I wanted it to be a hexagon, number one. I wanted it to have logs with live edges on the top and the bottom. I didn't want it to look like Lincoln logs where it had gone through a saw. And to find somebody to do that looked like it was going to be impossible. But I finally found this one guy. It's too bad I don't have a picture of him. This guy's like a modern day Paul Bunyan. He's like about 350. He had worked in a machine shop for 25 years. He had just stopped and was building timber frame homes, but he just got started. And so when I called him, I found him. I was like, I was calling everybody. He kind of sounded interested. I said, look, I'll pay you, $1,000. I'll send you up some, see if you can figure it out. Because these other people, they don't want to try to figure it out. He ended up getting it, and it was just the right time for him. But he got it, and he kind of figured out how to do it. And so we decided, he agreed, and he built the barn at his place in northern Pennsylvania. He got the logs, had to have the logs custom cut from forests. He built it at his place, and then he sent it down here, and we reconstructed it. And as I'm telling this story, I remember when it was time to come down, and he said, oh, Randy, I can't come down. I said, the heck you can't come down? He said, no, I got hurt. I said, I don't care if you're hurt. I want you down here. I'm not going to try to build this thing. What if we have a problem? He said, you won't have a problem. I said, okay, I can't come up there and get you, but send it down. He sent it down. That thing went together like a glove. It went together so perfect, and we got it built.
Do you have is it a guest house on top of the barn?
Yeah, actually on top of the barn, Clay, I wanted to build like a luxury residence because that's where I wanted to live, but I started it a couple years too late because, well, two things. Because my wife and I are building a house now, and that's where we're going to live. Because we're still in the arcade. We're moving out of the arcade. Yeah, but anyway, I wanted to live upstairs in the barn because it looks out over our lake, it looks out over the lodge, it looks all over my horses, all the animals. I can see the cattle from there. But when I decided to build that, my wife and I have a fabulous marriage. We've had 3 major arguments in 40 years. And I mean that. That's it. But I told her, on this, I don't want any strings attached. I don't want you telling me no to anything. I want to do every single bit of this myself, no matter what, even if it's stupid. I want to have free reign over all this. So she said, okay, fine, did it. Well, now, on her home, she is the same thing. And that's fine because she's so much better at it than me. So I got to build the barn and she's building the house.
That's how my wife and I did this office. I did the office and I got to do the pool. And then she did the house. That's how we did it. Now, so is it used? Can people stay there on top of the barn?
Actually, what we do now is because my wife decided she didn't want to live in Randy's barn. We rent that out year round. So that's like a residence, but it's super nice. I mean, it's 2,500 feet. It's fabulous.
Is it one person that stays there perpetually, or can someone rent it right now?
Well, actually, right now, the people that were living there moved out, and so we're in between. Well, but we've got somebody living there now. Claudia thought, well, we'll put that on and I'm not involved in all this. She puts it on some website, and it's rented out for the week. So there's actually some people there that are coming to Tulsa to do a building project, and they're going to live there for like a week or two or something. But after that, it'll be available. And I'm telling you,
I'm ready to rent that thing.
You walk in that thing, you personally, knowing you like I do, you would love it. It's gorgeous.
Now, a couple other questions I have here for you, and I appreciate every second of your time here, is you had a vision. Did you have every answer? No. Did you have every detail? No. Did you know about the cups? No. But you knew that action was the real measure of intelligence. Napoleon Hill says action is the real measure of intelligence. Whether you knew that quote or not, You talk about Thomas Edison. He said, vision without execution is hallucination. Whether you knew that quote or not, that's just, Thomas Edison said that knowledge without application is meaningless. The point is, you weren't going to just have the vision, doodle on it, put it in a notebook and move on. You weren't just going to go buy a moleskin, write down your goal and move on. You and I, where we connected, our intersection of our two brains is you're going to get it done. And when and I wanted to see if you could speak into the life of someone watching this who is going, I've been thinking about getting it done, but they've been on the fence. What do you say to someone about just getting it done, just going forward, making the changes as you learn? You're learning as you go, you're finding the tools, making the changes as you go. But what do you say to someone who's been putting their dreams on hold for a decade or two?
Well, there's a couple things. The first thing I like to say about it, and it's what I told my kids, there's no substitute, period, in America or probably anywhere for effort. And I mean effort. And I learned that just somehow when I was young and I was like in junior high and high school. And I thought, this really isn't that hard. It probably wouldn't be that hard to make all A's, but nobody else that much. B's, C's, whatever. I thought, well, I can make all A's. I just got to work harder than the other guy. And I was never really as smart as the other guy as far as like, if you took a standardized test or something, but there was nobody that was going to outwork me, nobody. And the effort, I think that's actually, I don't know if I just told you at the first of this conversation, one of the reasons I wanted to come here is because you and I are so different. You've got this high-tech stuff and modern-day wizard with all this stuff, and I'm just like an old cowboy. But the thing that we both share is we have a passion and then the willing to do it and the effort. And you can't be real successful, and there's no substitute for it. But that's the fun of it. That's the thing. I think a lot of people, well, I got to do that. I got to work hard. No. That's the fun of the deal is putting out the effort. Before I do something like the next day, I go to bed at night and I think exactly what I'm going to do. I'll map it out in my mind. And if it's a building thing, I'll even figure out the tools I'm going to use and what the sequence is going to be. And I go to bed and when I wake up, man, I'm like every morning I wake up, I'm excited to be able to get up and put forth what I've thought about all night. And I'm telling you, people don't, I really don't think there's enough importance put on that when they teach things in schools and stuff, because, the X's and O's are one thing, but you got to get out there and get your hands dirty and get after it.
Now I'll tell you, folks, Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 through 24 says, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not unto men, knowing that the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. Knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. What does that mean? It means work is unto the Lord. It's book of Genesis and Exodus. They talk about working 6 days a week and resting on the seventh. The word work in Hebrew means worship. The actual word work in Hebrew means worship, and the actual word worship means work. So work is not something that we should hide from, something we should escape from. Effort is the fun part. Work is the fun part. I got 2 final questions for you. Five Oaks Lodge. There's a lot of urban legend about the name. Where did the name Five Oaks Lodge come from?
Okay, the movie Gone with the Wind. Okay, so in the movie Gone with the Wind, they would go over to, gosh, I can't think of the name of the guy. It wasn't Clark Gable, but was the other guy that Vivian Lee liked. But anyway, he had a property, and it was Ashley Wilkes. Had a property, it was called 12 Oaks. And even as a young person, when I'd heard that name, I don't know why, but it just resonated almost lyrically with me. It was like 12 Oaks. Gosh, that's so beautiful. And also in that movie, one of the themes of that is those people, they love land. They loved it. It meant everything to them. And when we got that property, I was the same way. I felt so blessed to have it. And I thought, gosh, I'd like to name that something like that. Well, so I thought, there's 5 people in our family. We'll name it Five Oaks because we got a lot of oak trees. Well, so that's how the name got going. But what happened after I decided, okay, we're going to name it Five Oaks. Back then, Clyde and I, we had no money left. We'd bought that property. We were like we're getting by, but it wasn't anything extra. But because it was 5 oaks, I wanted to buy 5 oak trees, nice ones. I wanted to plant them. All our kids were little bitty. It would have these trees grow up, and it would be kind of our big thing that you'd see when you drove in the property. I bought the 5 oak trees. They were $200 a piece. That was $1,000. That'd be like me spending $100,000 now, believe me. I set them on our lake, right on the edge where they could have water and wouldn't dry out. The next day when I got up, I was walking down to the lake. Beavers came and cut every one of those 5 oaks trees. So I never got to plant the 5 oaks trees, but the name stayed. But I want to say something else because you brought up a biblical thing. My wife and I have felt so blessed to have this property, and we honestly do together feel like it was a total godsend because there's too many things that had to happen for us to be able, we were regular people, to have a shot at getting something this grand. And so we look at that land like stewards, and I hope my daughter, I know, will keep it. I'll tell you why she'll keep it. There was somebody that wanted to buy an acre of our property, good friends of ours, border us. I said, hey, Nicole, I'm thinking about selling an acre of our property. We could have made like $150,000. And she said, Papa, I would sell my organs before I'd sell 1 acre of this property. And when she said that, I thought, okay, she's the next generation. So I'm hoping after her children or my other children's children will do the same thing and keep it going because it's too special to be cut up.
I want to leave people with a notable quotable that comes to mind when I think about you. Inspiration is the reward. Inspiration is the reward. Action. So think about this, folks. Inspiration is the reward, and inaction is the giant, but action is the sword. What am I saying? Inspiration is the reward you're going to have if you take action. Inspiration is the reward. Inaction, not doing something, that is the real giant facing most people. It's inaction is the giant, and action is your sword to slay that giant. And if you're looking for a place to inspire your family, a place to celebrate a big event, a big upcoming event in your life, maybe a birthday, graduation, something, or you're just looking to go visit something that's inspiring, that'll inspire your senses and cause you to want to do more, to be more, to achieve more, check out fiveoakslodge.com, fiveoakslodge.com. Randy, I'll give you the final word. What do you want to say to our listeners out there that are probably taking notes there, sir?
I just want to thank you for having me on. I, never hardly do anything like this because I'd be busy doing something else. I've got so many projects. And like I said earlier, the only reason I took it is because it's fun being around you. It's fun listening to you talk. It's fun seeing somebody that's more enthusiastic than me. And anyway, it was a real treat to get to come here, see your operation. And I just want to thank you for the time.
Thank you so much, Randy. And again, folks, that website, fiveoakslodge.com, fiveoakslodge.com. Thanks again, sir. And we'll end this thing with a boom. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him, character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart. And I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good. And then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is. He is.
Yeah.
And it's for the folks that aren't familiar with you, and probably few and far between, I first came across you, gosh, probably 15 years ago, or maybe even 20.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening on June 5th and 6th right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, real clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board, is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is, how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems, and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one-sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one-sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's June 5th and 6th.
Yep.
It's a 2-day interactive workshop.
Yes.
And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You know, you could be at a startup phase or you could be, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad. And like, it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Sean, final 60 seconds pop quiz here. What date is the conference?
June 5th and 6th, 2025, this year.
Question number 2, who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3, how much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250
Yes.
or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. And you did it right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sean, I'm excited to have this event. I'm excited to see you at the event, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got a fire breather, and man, people are so excited as they come in. The conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Hansis with Shaw Homes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Lincoln Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy. Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2 and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me. I tell you what, people are so excited to be here for day 2. It is going to be incredible. Cannot wait to see what today has in store. right now, here at the conference, we've broken into groups going over search engine optimization. And I know for most of us, myself included, if you hear that term, you go, what is that? What does that mean? That's too techie for me. Well, our experts are breaking it down for people so that you can clearly understand how to come up top in Google. It's doable. It's possible. Now we're in the middle of a break, and what we like to do is we like to give you as much tangible and relevant information from about the start of the hour for 45 minutes. Then we take approximately a 15-minute break to allow people to connect with other entrepreneurs around them, bathroom breaks, and also use this time to just really digest all of the good information that you're receiving the whole time. Right behind me, we've got Bob with his grill gun, melting an ice sculpture. It is awesome. The ice sculpture represents our life, right? It's here for a time, but we all need to have the sense of urgency to implement the things that we're learning so that we can make the most of the time that we have.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us. And it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builders shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing, and Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I mean, I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects, you know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodruff Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews, interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous. Just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. You know, my rich dad was one of those persons.
You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view.
Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.